What are the mating systems of the human species? Are we biologically programmed to fall in love? Or is love merely a modern romantic invention? Are we truly monogamous, or perhaps polygamous? This difficult and fascinating subject is full of surprises as we travel the globe in search of answers and meet along the way the pop star with 58 wives who seems to have the answer to every man's dreams. Is it biologically natural for us to be faithful to one mate all our lives? Or is it society that pushes us in that direction? Are we, by nature, monogamous or polygamous? When a survey of nearly 200 different tribal societies was made, it was discovered that in most of them a man was allowed to have more than one wife. But interestingly, in most of them, he only chose to have a single wife. So even when we have the freedom to be polygamous, we remain essentially a monogamous species. So how do you explain those special men who have been defiantly polygamous on a grand scale? The answer is power. The power that enables them to control and support a huge number of wives. And no man in the whole history of the world was more powerful than the great pharaoh of ancient Egypt, Ramesses II. Like so many other polygamists, he had one special favourite, his very first queen, Nefertari, who was usually shown standing faithfully by his right knee, dwarfed by his vast image. He had an impressive collection of queens and concubines, but it was Nefertari that he adored. And nearby there's a temple that Ramses had built specially for her, where uniquely she's shown on the same huge scale as her husband. She was his true wife. All the others were little more than status symbols or diplomatic liaisons. But of course, all this happened over 3,000 years ago. What of today? Where are the harem masters of modern times? This is Mongo Fire of Cameroon in West Africa. And these are some of his 58 wives who together have already given him over 40 children. If other men have bedroom eyes, it could be said that Mongo Fire has dormitory eyes. After one wedding, when he married 6 women on the same day, it was predicted that he'd continue to add to his family until he had over 100 wives. In his patriarchal role, he's treated with great respect and frequently holds court to admire his wives and judge their dancing skills. How, you may well ask, can one man afford to care for such a large group of women? The answer is as unexpected as Mongo himself, for Mongo Fire is a local pop star, one of the most famous in all Cameroon. It's a safe bet that Mungo Fire is the only pop star in the world who is married to his entire backing group. Mungo has declared himself ruler of the kingdom of Akumba. Significantly, Akumba is the name of his first, much-loved wife, who was killed in a road accident. So, like Ramses II, Mungo may have had many wives, but one he loved above all others. So Mungo Fire seems to have made polygamy work well enough for him. Everyone seems extremely cheerful. Well, almost everyone, because although he's been married 80 times, he has also been divorced 22 times. So perhaps there is a slight instability in the system somewhere. This thought is underlined by what happened here. This is the famous Topkapi Palace in Istanbul. And it was here for centuries that the great sultans kept their harem. The harem was a building which housed all their women, the concubines and the wives, the women who were there to give them sons. They were pampered and protected, looked after by eunuchs, isolated from the rest of the world, kept in the lap of luxury. It all sounds a very happy arrangement, but it wasn't quite like that. What started out as a way of giving the sultans their sons and heirs eventually descended into a massive status display, and from that went further downhill until it became really something of a nightmare. Inside this amazing warren of buildings, there were intense jealousies and murders. Any wives who caused displeasure were executed. The executions were carried out on the dark waters of the Bosphorus. A large sack was weighted with stones, and then the unfortunate wife placed inside it. It was tied tight and put in a small execution boat, which was towed out here and capsized. On one occasion, a particular sultan ordered all 300 of his wives to be drowned in this manner, so that he could enjoy the fun of restocking his palace with fresh faces. So I think it's safe to say that polygamy on a grand scale does have its weaknesses. But perhaps on a more modest scale there might be a better chance of success. In Utah, in the United States, where some breakaway religious groups favour plural marriages, there are usually only a few wives in each family. And on the surface, all is peace and light. The overall atmosphere is one of restraint and quiet reserve, as though any flirting or frivolity might quickly break the calm. In other words, polygamy works here, but at a price. The price being the need to keep the emotions and the sexuality well damped down to avoid jealousies. It's as though polygamy is essentially an imposed regime, one that can be made to work, but which is under constant threat from mankind's more basic monogamous urges that see couples falling hopelessly in love and becoming jealously exclusive in their intimacy. When couples fall in love, the power of their emotions leads them to seek out some kind of symbolic gesture. Since they're declaring undying love for one another, the obvious gesture is one that involves something with no end in sight. A ring.
What do you think?
I definitely like that one.
Yeah? Well, I'm sold on it.
That's the only thing that matters. Go for it? Or do you want to?
Sold.
Done. Thank you.
What do you want to do? Get something to eat?
I'm not hungry. In fact, I feel rather ill.
The same symbolism can be observed on a more dramatic scale at a strange landmark in Estonia in northeastern Europe. When a meteor struck the Earth at this spot, a small lake appeared inside the crater that it formed.